Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Aurora 4X. Okay, between episodes, I clicked on the 30 days for a few more times, and we now have our research complete. And I was just kind of looking through the log here, and I don't think anything here really applies to us or anything we're doing, so it's just automatic assignments and a few officer health notifications and stuff like that. But right at the bottom here, we have research complete. A team on Earth led by Freya Todd has completed research into trans-Newtonian technologies. So we have succeeded. If we come into research, yeah, so that's all done now. So now if we come back into industry, you can see there's a bunch more options. We only had the 4 options here before, but now there's a bunch more stuff we can do. So basically our researchers have discovered, hey, we got better ways of doing things. So let's convert our conventional industry to do that. So these are the convert conventional industries. If we come over to our summary tab, we can see that we have 1,050 conventional industries. So we have to convert them to actual trans-Newtonian industries. And the way we do that is these options here. Basically, we want some construction factories and mines. Right now, we have a bit of a governor bonus helping us out here, but 1,312 is our current conventional industries, and that's dictates how fast we're mining stuff and all that. As you can see, our accessibility one gives us exactly 1312, that exact number there. So this is a percentage of actually this number here, and it applies to each one of these. But if we start converting our conventional industries to specialized trans-Newtonian industries, that number is going to significantly increase. So we want to do that first. So we have 1,050 of these. I'm not sure why it came out 1,050. My test came was 1,000. Might have had something to do with my population change I did there, just to make sure it wasn't an even 500 million. I think that's probably what it was. So let's get those converted. I'm going to take 600 of those, and I'm going to apply. I'm going to apply 55% of our construction capacity to do this. So I'm going to hit create on that. As you can see, it's going to take a little bit of time to do this. But as we convert our conventional industry to trans-Newtonian industries, this will get better, because as we convert our factories, the factories will work better towards converting the other factories and so on and so forth. So it'll sort of snowball, and then this will be done actually fairly soon. We also want to grab our mines, and I'm going to take 400 of those of our conventional industry and convert them to our mines, and I'm going to use 35% of our construction to do that, which leaves us 10%. And I'm going to put that 10% into fuel refining. And that should leave us 50 conventional industries and 10%. And we'll create that. And there we go. So they're going to be done on various dates. I know if we start with an even 1,000 conventional, you can actually tune this so that it comes out on the same day. But that's not going to happen in this particular situation. I could probably calculate it out and try to figure out when that would happen, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's not that big of a deal, I don't think. So there's 3 things we're going to do in our construction area right now. Get these converted, and maybe once our fuel refinery is done, it's going to be the first thing done. We'll look at getting some other stuff happening. Not sure what we'll need to do first, but we'll deal with that. We have to get a commercial shipyard complex built. That's, I think, one of the first things we have to do. So that's where we'll start. And yeah, so that's that. So mining is going to get significantly better, and I'll turn our fuel production back on once we get some of these refineries finished. Okay, so we have nothing going on in our shipyards, but we probably should start getting some exploration ships happening. We do have the ability to actually build some ships right now. We do have to tweak out a few more things yet. We won't be able to finish this ship, but we'll come into the ship design, or class design, I guess. And Empire is a Terran Federation. We don't have anything here yet, so we're going to hit the new button at the bottom. Okay, and it gives us the class of Halifax, which is a Canadian city. This is where the theme comes in that I selected as we came in, so we're going to get Canadian names in here. However, I think I might rename that. Where's the button to do that rename? Okay, I'm just going to call this the yeah, let's spell it right. Yeah, no spell check in this game whatsoever. Surveyor. So this is going to be the Surveyor class. And there's two types of things we can build. We can either build ships or planetary defense compounds, I guess that's what it stands for. And hull is the type of ship. This is basically, I think, more cosmetic. It just sort of gives us a name, like a Surveyor class cruiser or Surveyor class. Which one do we want here? There we go. A Surveyor class geological survey vessel. Okay, so this is, yeah, like I said, this is cosmetic. Doesn't really do much to the game, I don't think. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's just for naming conventions. So if we come into the design view, it's already added a few things to the ship for us. It's given us some armor. And if we look down here, we need 3 pieces of armor, 1 layer deep, to actually build this ship as it stands right now. So it's basically a little box in space is all we have. We have some crew quarters, some fuel storage, engineering spaces, and a bridge, and the armor that I mentioned already. Now, the thing that we don't have is engines, and they're not even on the list. We can't even put them on the ship yet. That's because we actually have to research and engineer them first. So we can't do that. And another thing missing is the survey module. We have to research that as well. So we can't really complete this ship quite yet. So we're just going to close out of here. You don't have to hit save or anything. It's just kind of saved to the database, I guess. And we're going to come into this one here, create research project. And it gives you an error as you first come in because we don't have anything in here. It's just telling us that we don't have any technology to work with in this particular tab. But if we drop down to engines, we can see that we have conventional engine technology. And here's some stats about it here. It's got a power of 1. It uses 0.95 liters per hour, and it's got a hull size of 5, which will make our ship bigger. We'll need more armor to actually wrap around our ship with this engine on it. And it requires a crew of 5 to operate this particular engine, and various other stats here that I'm not quite sure how to explain, so I'm not going to bother. I don't know what this whether explosion chance or experience chance. I'm guessing explosion chance 10. I'm not sure on that. And it's going to take 5 gallicite to actually build this, which is one of our minerals. And the development cost for this is 50 research points. So it's going to be ultra cheap to research, but we do have to do a couple things to this first. This is a military engine. And the best way I understand it is military equipment requires maintenance, where commercial equipment does not. We just have to assume that commercial industries have staff on hand to look after things, whereas we as the governor of the military need to concentrate on keeping our military maintained properly. So that's the difference basically between commercial and military, is we don't have to worry about maintenance on commercial stuff. So we definitely want this to be a commercial ship. So we want to make sure we have a commercial engine on it. And the way we do that is we fiddle with the power and the engine size. We basically drop it down to 50% of the actual fuel consumption in this, and engine power. Actually, engine power 50%. Fuel consumption, what does that change? Yeah, the larger the engine, the more fuel we require. So it's going to be dirt cheap in fuel to run for sure. Engine size, we have to bring that down to, I believe, 50%. And that now turns this into a commercial engine, which means the ship we build with this will be a commercial ship, not a military ship, and that's what we want. So that's basically all we need to do in here. We could fiddle with a couple other things here. I don't know whether there's any options yet, though. No, but we can research and we can tweak this engine up later if we need to. We will also get better engine technologies as well. So I'm just going to hit suggest name and see what we end up with here. Bishop Dynamics. So basically this engine will be a Bishop Dynamics 5 EP commercial conventional engine. So I'm going to create that. And this is just the research project. We still don't actually have a way to build the engine, so we have to actually research that. So we'll come into our research, And we'll drop down to power and propulsion, and there it is there. Bishop Dynamics 5EP commercial conventional engine. It's only 50 research points. And as you can see, we're making 200 annually. So this is only going to take a month or two to actually do. And we do, in fact, have a power and propulsion expert, Elise Stewart. So we'll assign her to do this. Yes, we'll use all 5 labs. And because she is specialized in this particular area, her 10% bonus turns into a 40% bonus right off the bat. And that's from this here. And it will be done in January of 2022, in the 19th. So that's actually done within the month. So what we can do, I could actually split this up if I wanted to. I could put a couple labs doing that and then a couple labs doing our geological survey sensors. But I think regardless of how I divvy this up, we're still going to be the same amount of time to actually get it done. So I think what we'll do is we'll just click ahead a couple of 5 days to get ourselves to the 19th of January. We're at the 7th right now, so we'll just hit 5 days a couple times here. And one more. And there we go. So that is now finished. And before we come out of here, we might as well get the geological survey sensors going. So we'll use Abigail Bird. She's got a 10% as well, so we'll actually get 40% bonus by using her. So we'll create that. We'll use all the labs. And that's going to take a little bit more time. It's going to take most of the year to actually do this. So we're not going to be able to build that ship quite yet. However, we can go put the engines on our design. So we come back into the design view. It's defaulted to the ship. This is the only ship we have, so we don't have to worry about selecting what ship it is. And you can see we now have an engine, the Bishop Dynamics 5EP commercial conventional engine. Double click and we put that on, and our ship just became a lot bigger. Let's just take that back off for a sec. As you can see, we're only 255 tons. Like I said, it's a cube in space with a couple things on it. That's all it is. So it's only 255 tons, and it only requires 3 pieces of armor to actually build this. We add the engine. We now need 19 pieces of armor, and it's going to be 3,200 tons. Now we could increase this armor by putting another layer of armor on it. Just think of it as a circle of armor around your ship. So by increasing this to 2, we would have 2 circles around our ship of armor. But we're just going to go with 1. That's fine. This is just a survey vessel. It's not going to see any combat. If it does, it's probably just going to get destroyed. So we'll just maybe call it a disposable ship. Disposable ship. It's going to now require 35 crew to actually fly this thing, and 65 build points to build it. Okay, and I don't know whether there's anything. Oh, range, yes, 3,100 billion kilometers, and this thing can go for 4,700 days at full power. That's how much fuel we're taking with us, 50,000 liters, and we can go for, I think this works out to somewhere around 10, 12 years, something like that. I forget what I calculated out to, but it's going to be a good decade anyways. And actually, while we're on this topic, because I forgot to do this in my test game, is we need to change the deployment time. We have a deployment time of 3 months right now. So basically, once we get out and after 3 months, the morale of the crew is going to start dropping after we go beyond our deployment time. It's kind of like your boss coming up at the end of your 8-hour day and asking you to work an extra 4 hours. Doesn't make you very happy, does it? So that's kind of what happens to the crew if you go beyond your intended deployment time. So I'm going to set this to 10 years, 120 months. And as you can see, it's added some more crew quarters and stuff because we've got to go further, and it's increased the size of the ship. I don't know whether it increased the crew. I can't remember if that. I think that was 35 before. So, and intended deployment time is now 120 months. So that's all we're going to do now because we still need the survey component for this ship. So we can't really build this yet. So I think that's all we need to do. I did our conventional industries, correct? Yes, we did, and that looks fine. All right, so I guess we'll carry on. Oh, Jennifer Cameron has joined our scientific community. Jennifer Cameron, power and propulsion, 0%. She might increase that just sitting in the wings, hopefully. Be able to utilize her at a later date. Oh, and one more thing in there too. Just go back in. Each one of these scientists can manage so many labs too. For instance, we have 5 research labs currently, but Abigail can actually run 15 labs. She can oversee 15 research labs. Freya Todd can oversee 30, and so on and so forth. And we can build more research labs in here. I think it's in here. Yeah, research labs. So we can actually put some of our construction to get more research labs, which we'll definitely have to do as time goes on. And we had an officer die there, I see, killed in an accident. Very unfortunate. So once again, not much going on at this point. Everything's spinning around the sun as intended. Okay, another medical problem with one of our officers. Oh, Abigail Bird. That was administrative bonus. I don't think it applies to... I'm pretty sure it was... hang on. Officer update. Abigail increased administrative rating. Okay, so that doesn't really apply to our science. Okay, a team led on Earth, led by Abigail Bird, has completed research into our geological survey. So our research is now done, so we can now complete our very first ship. And passive scanners, geological survey sensors. So let's throw one of those on. We can double click. Okay, that brings our ship size up to 3,700 tons. And we are going to produce 1 survey point per hour. So this dictates how long it takes us to survey a body to see what minerals are on it. But you know what? I still have a bit of space yet. We still have we have our slipway, which can do 4,000 tons. So I actually have enough room to put 1 more of those on. We have doubled our survey points now, so it's going to be 2 survey points per hour. And this will just squeeze into that slipway that we put on our shipyard. Okay, so that's our first ship fully designed. So now let's come into our shipyards. Okay, now first thing we have to do, this is we basically have to retool our shipyards for specific designs. So if we drop this task type bar down and we go retool for selected class, the only ship that we have available to us right now is the Surveyor. And if we hit set activity, it's instantly done in this particular case. It's the very first thing the shipyard has done, so you have to assume that the shipyard was built with this design in mind. So any other designs that we make, we're going to have to retool, and it will take some time and materials to actually do that. So for now, we actually have our gravitational survey vessel, our gravitational geological survey vessel. And that's what this shipyard can build right now. So we come down to create task. We're going to do a construction. We can do refits and everything here too. We can scrap ships. Yeah, if you want to scrap a ship, you actually have to bring it back to a shipyard in order to do that. And there's our GEV Surveyor. And the ship name, we can name that right now. I'll just call it my Columbus. I'm spelling that right. 001. So Columbus 001 will be our first ship, and it'll be in our shipyard task group. We'll look at task groups in a bit. So let's hit add task. And assign class, come into shipyard tasks, and there's our ship right there. Progress 0%, we haven't started it yet. And that's all we need to do. And that will build our ship by February of 2024. So it's going to take a couple years to actually build this thing. All right, come back into research. One thing I think we'll get going right away, and I think it's under defense systems, is duranium armor. This is a highly durable armor, and it's very, very light, which is more suited to the ships than the, I guess, steel armor we're using right now. Our ship is actually very heavy. So by using duranium armor, it's gonna lighten our load quite a bit, and it'll be easier on our engines and all that kind of stuff. Not very expensive tech, 500, so it's probably going to take, what, a couple years, 2.5 years, something like that. And defensive systems, we have nobody specialized in defensive systems, so we're going to take our best scientist at 25%, Freya Todd, and we will create that. Okay, so there, 16th of March 2023, this research will be finished. And we'll keep an eye on the log. If we do happen to get a defensive system researcher, then we'll definitely swap her out if it's a benefit to us. But we'll at least still get the 25% bonus on this. Okay, I don't think there's anything else we need to look at, so we'll click on. Don't mind me, I'm kind of reading these log entries just to make sure we don't get any more scientists we need to look at. Okay, we have completed research into duranium armor. Beyond this, I'm not exactly quite sure what we need to prioritize. I know logistics is the big one, because I know we need cargo handling systems, cryogenic transport for our colony ships. What else do we need here? Yeah, there's all kinds of new stuff here. If we come back into here, you know we only had like 3 things when we first started with the transnewtonian technologies, but now we got all this stuff to do too. Thorium harvester might be something to get, but again, we need a ship to actually park above a gas giant in order to extract that. So we're not quite there yet, anyways. But I think we'll go to logistics because we want to get some freighters up and running as soon as possible, I think. And cargo handling systems is definitely something we want to look at. It's used by cargo ships, colony ships, so we need it for our colony ships as well, and troop ships to enable faster cargo loading and unloading. So basically your ship comes into a space yard, and it takes time to unload all the cargo. You don't just come in, drop it, and leave. You have to it actually takes a bunch of hours to actually unload the cargo ship. So the increased load is calculated by dividing total load time by tractor strength, blah, blah, blah. So that's definitely something we want. And yeah, no logistics. Oh, Freya Todd is logistics. So we're going to get 100% bonus by using Freya Todd on this. That is going to be done like right quickly. So we were basically getting 100%. We've doubled our research because she's specialized in this particular field. Excellent. Okay, next. Yeah, at this point, we're kind of getting to the end of what I know about this game at this point. So what I'm going to do is record these 2 episodes. This is the 2nd episode, and I'll give it a couple days. I'll do some off-camera gaming and get more familiar with what's going on. And then by episode 3, we'll get things progressing. And by all means, leave any tips and comments and let me know what I should be looking at. And I'll consult the wiki the best I can and try and get this game up and running. Okay, our cargo handling systems are done now. So let's come back into research. And we'll go back to logistics, and we will get our cryogenic transport as well. And we'll use Freya Todd once again. I could use Aiden Lawrence and hopefully increase your abilities. I just might, because we do have a little bit of time right now. I don't think we need to be too... I think I'm going to be a bit before I can actually build a whole lot. And I'm not exactly sure exactly what I need to be concentrating on. Well, maybe we'll just get Freya Todd to do it, just because it's quick. So we'll create that. We could actually increase that bonus a bit too by using her. Okay. Oop. Need this button. Yeah, it's not much of a game to look at, but it's very, very in-depth. And if you're into numbers and all that kind of stuff, then this is probably the game for you. Okay, we got a whole bunch of reassignments. So they've updated the officers. They've dismissed any dead wood, anybody who's not doing anything, just taking cut of the payroll. And yeah, all these have been dismissed, and all these have been reassigned. So the game automatically does that for us. Otherwise, we'd have to do that manually, and that's not something that would be fun to micromanage. Excellent. Okay, so we've constructed our first Columbus surveyor class built on Earth, assigned to this shipyard task group. And a command assignment, Commander Kyle Marshall has been assigned to the Columbus, and he has a survey bonus of 25%. So the game will automatically assign the best, didn't mean to click that, but it'll automatically assign the best person to the job. So assigned to Columbus, survey bonus 25%. Otherwise, we would have had to pick through a huge list of people and try and find the person with the best server bonus, but the system did it for us. Okay, so now let's come into fleet orders. Okay, there's a shipyard task group. It's the default task group. And there's our Columbus. And we don't want it in the shipyard. We want to actually give it its own task group. So the easiest way to do that, we could come over here, create a task group, and put the ship in it, and blah, blah, blah. The easiest way to do it is just go detach. And that'll create a new task group with the exact name of the ship. I think we'll rename that, though. And we'll just call it the Exploration TG. The Exploration Task Group. So we're going to go out, explore various bodies and see what's on them and so on and so forth. So that's the Explorer Task Group. I did see a tip from somebody. Was it Quill18? I watched an episode of Quill18 as well. And his suggestion was to rename this task group with a space in the front of it. So basically now when we come in to that particular screen, Shipyard Task Group will always be first because this sorts alphabetically. Otherwise, Exploration Task Group would have been first. And generally we come in here to deal with whatever ships just come out of the shipyard. So it just makes it a little quicker. You don't have to click around to actually get to where you need to go. So that was a little tip from Quill18. He has a series on this too if you want to go check him out. And as you know, Quill is very good at these games. Okay, so we've done that. So let's grab our Exploration Task Group. So Columbus 001, we're going to give you some orders. I'm going to click on moons here because the first thing I want to do is go to our moon. And Luna is not at Venus. I think this is a bug. This should be at Earth. Venus doesn't have any moons, so that's a bit of a game bug. But it doesn't affect anything. So basically what we want to do is go over to available actions, and we want to do a geological survey of the moon. So if we double click on geological survey, that puts our plotted move to go do that. And I think I'm going to go do the same thing with Mercury and the same thing with Venus. That sort of gets our inner core, so we know it's on Earth, the inner planets, and the moon. And that'll get the inner core sort of explored with this ship. Now, once it's done that, we can actually give this a bit of automation, so we don't have to actually come in and keep giving it orders. We can come into special orders. If we come down to default orders, I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to get this particular ship to survey the nearest planet or moon. Basically, this ship is going to go from planet, moon, so it's not going to stop at every asteroid. I'm going to build another ship to actually do that. So I'm going to build another Columbus, and his job will be to do all the asteroids, comets, and all that. But this one I want to actually just do planets and moons only. Conditional order, this is where we set up our refueling schedules. And because this is just going to be beelining outwards towards planets and moons, so it's going to end up out to the outer reaches fairly quick. I'm going to give it a fuel less than 50% order. So once it drops below 50% fuel, it's going to come back and refuel at the colony. The other ship I'll probably set to 30% because it'll probably be in the inner rings a bit more and will be a little closer to home. But just because this is going way out, then we definitely don't want to play with that too much. The last thing you want is a ship stranded in the middle of nowhere with no fuel. Not a good situation. So I think that's all we need to do. So it's going to go out, it's going to do this, and then it's going to go to the default orders in here and carry on. And I think that's all we need to do in here. Okay, just going to hit refresh. Okay, there we go. It was still showing shipyard task group, so we hit refresh, and it changed it into the Exploration TG task group. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. So it's sitting at Earth right now. And before we get going, I'm going to actually build another one of those, just so I don't forget about it. So manage shipyards. Come down to construction again, and we'll call this a Columbus 002. Columbus. Okay, so we'll add that task. And that one will be done in June of 2025. Okay, so was there anything else that happened here? I guess research is still going. Okay. So I'm not going to do a 30-day chunk right now. I'm going to actually do a 1-hour chunk. Okay, so our exploration ship has now moved out. It is heading towards the moon, and it is traveling at 62 kilometers per second. And this line denotes how far it's traveled in the last turn. If we would have went 30 days, it would have been a huge long line, and we actually probably would have had the moon surveyed already. So let's go another hour. Okay, so now that we're at the moon, you can see survey points needed, 172.1653. So it's basically orbiting the moon right now, doing its surveying. So it's going to take a bit of time to get that done. If we click another hour, that drops down a bit lower. Bit lower again. So it's a good thing we put 2 of those survey modules on here. It's or this would have been twice as long. Okay, so let's move back out and select the sun again. I just like to keep this centered so I can see what's going on. And I think that's kind of all we need to do. So let's go back to 5-day chunks for now. Okay, so it has now finished surveying the moon, and it is now heading towards Mercury, which is right there. And if anything would have been on the moon, it would have shown up in this list. So the moon is barren. There are no trans-Newtonian minerals on it whatsoever. So we have to move on, and hopefully we find something else close by. So there's nothing on the moon. And if we zoom back in, actually, we can see that visually. There's only one ring around the moon, where there's 2 on Earth. So that tells us that we've explored it and there's minerals here. This just tells us we've explored it and there are no minerals here. Okay. So we'll go 5 days again. And we'll just see what's on Mercury here. Okay, maybe we'll go 30 days just because we're at the end of this episode. I'll hit 30 days and we'll just see if there's anything on Mercury. And there is. We can tell that because this just popped up in this list. And it has finished that survey, and it is heading towards Venus, which is here for some reason. I guess it's going to intersect with the orbit or something. Okay, so if we can look at this list here, and we can see that there's lots of duranium here at 0.9 accessibility. That's actually good news. We can mine this very well. Neutronium is not bad. Boronide is going to be a bit tricky to get out of here, but there are some good well, it's not great accessibility, but it's definitely worth considering when we set up our mining. Perfect. Okay, what's going on down here? Okay. Scientist Frida Todd has increased administrative ratings, so she's busy working and getting some increases to various other traits. And I see we're at the end of the episode. I think we might just leave it here. And like I said, I'm going to take a couple days and play some more of this off camera. I got some crappy weather in the area, so I expect to be sitting at home for the next day or two. I do have other things I should be doing, so I'm going to have to mix that in there as well. And we'll play this out until I get my new video card sorted out. And that's going to be another week or so before it gets here. But I just want to get the channel active again. I was getting kind of itchy to do that. So, and as always, comments down below, please. That always helps me and other viewers out. So if you know more about this game than I do, then any tips would be appreciated. And if you have the nerve to do it, stick with me and watch me stumble along. Like I said, this is probably the biggest black hole I've probably thrown myself into on the channel, so this should be quite interesting. So if you're still with me, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.